Welcome to the Patriotic Podcast.
Hell yeah.
Just shredded. What's up, dude?
Man, the world is going crazy.
It is.
Hey, real quick, before we start, I would like to say something real quick. I'd like to dedicate this show to my dog Atlas, who just passed away.
Yeah.
It was very sad. I love this dog. He was my service dog for several years till he retired. But if you're so inclined, we have the Atlas Project, which is going to be his legacy program that helps provide service animals for first responders who go through trauma. We're going to have those animals at fire stations. We're going to try to get them into police departments as well and be a model for the country. But if you go to warfighterOverwatch.org, please donate $1, whatever you feel like. If you've owned a dog, loved a dog, donate $1. If you've ever lost your dog, you know what this feels like, man. Sucks. So for Atlas, appreciate you, man. This one's for you, bud.
Cheers to Atlas.
Yep.
What a boy.
Yeah.
We also are working on some pretty cool Atlas merch too, which will go exclusively toward the Atlas program. So that'll be really cool. Sorry for that loss, man.
It was tough.
Super tough. It's the worst. It's the only bad part about owning an animal, frankly. It's the one part that like you dread from day one. I have a dog. I have two dogs, but one of them is just turned 13.
Oh, wow.
And she's getting up there, dude. It's starting to see her slow down. And, you know, she's always been the most athletic dog. She's a Border Collie Australian Shepherd mix.
Yeah.
She's crazy athletic. Really fun to watch her, like, run, just rip around. She doesn't chase any toys. She doesn't play like that, but, like, she just likes to explore. And now when we take her out, she moves a lot slower. She's sore for a couple days. And, like, I can tell that time's coming. You know, and it sucks to have to prepare for.
Yeah.
It's even worse when it just happens.
Yeah.
So, cheers to Atlas, man.
Yeah. He was such a good dog. You know what's so my life was exponentially better because he was a part of my life and in my life. He was a rescue, he's a 90-pound pit bull, and we didn't know if he would be able to go through the training to be a service dog, and it took 2 years to train him, and he excelled at every level. He was such an amazing animal, once in a lifetime kind of dog. But the one thing I'll say is this, that dog went everywhere with me. So the things that I had stopped doing because of PTSD and that sort of stuff. So I love live music, big sports guy. I like going to live sporting events and concerts. That wasn't something I was doing. I didn't like the crowds. I would get anxiety and stress and start sweating in there for no reason. I'm tripping, thinking, something bad's about to go down, like watching everyone. I couldn't enjoy myself. And that dog allowed me to do all of those things and then some. So we started with a reggae concert, super chill, iration, nice and easy, down at Ace of Spades. And then we got to season tickets with the Raiders and going to Giants games, I don't know, 20 games a year or something. And he went to every class that I went to in college with me. He got an honorary degree. I actually gave the speech down at Golden One where the Kings play, and they gave him an honorary degree, man. So
now let me ask you this, because a lot of people don't understand how a dog, when people think of a service dog, right? Mm-hmm. It's typically like they think of like the seeing eye dogs.
Oh yeah,
because that's a very practical and like tangible thing. You can see how a dog could help a blind person, right? By guiding their way.
Yep.
How, in your experience, did a service dog help the scars that you can't see?
So I hate to use this word, but I don't think that there's another one. But the PTSD gave me fear, an irrational fear that I was going to get. And it wasn't irrational when I was in war, but the irrational fear once I came home that I was going to be attacked, that someone was going to try to kill me.
At a River Cats game or something.
Anywhere.
Right.
It terrified me to the point where I wasn't doing any of those things. So what he provided for me was a sense of calm and that I could remain calm in those situations. I didn't have to get, so I didn't have to let my mind take me down the rabbit hole. And he knew when I started to go that way, hey, what's that guy doing? Or who's this? Or, what was that noise? He's 90 pounds and I called him meathead. He had this massive head and he would come push into me. He would sit on my foot so that I can't walk. I can't go anywhere. He would nudge into my leg and then make me essentially pay attention to him. So then I would sit there with him like, all right, I hear you, and pet him. And that was his way of saying, I feel what you're going through and we need to be present. We need to calm down. And these are our grounding techniques. And then it was like, okay, so I just need to breathe and pet my dog for a minute. After that little essentially was what I felt was like a break. That's right. So it was a break. Like I feel like I'm going 100 miles an hour. And before that, I didn't have a break. I would have told you like I can't stop and said this is a natural reaction. It's just I can't stop. It's automatic.
Yeah.
And that was first off a cop out. And it wasn't me having accountability, but I didn't have the tools either. And this dog allowed me while I was learning them, going through therapy, because it wasn't just him, right? So I've done so much stuff to try to minimize the damage or the impact that this stuff has on my daily life. And Atlas allowed me to do so many things, including going to school, right, where I got my degree in marriage and family therapy so that I could help my guys save their marriage, save their career, and, not end up committing suicide, because I know that those are the biggest factors that can contribute to that. You lose your job because you get angry at work all the time because you're carrying around this crap, this baggage. And so if this dog could allow me to keep carrying that baggage, sometimes to put it down when I really needed to specifically, man, it was life-saving, right? So I give credit to Fawn for saving my life, but I give credit to Atlas for giving me my quality of life back.
Yeah.
Because he really allowed me to do things. This allowed me to be a better dad. It allowed me to be engaged with my kids instead of isolating. And so the experience that I got having him as my service dog was, man, it just made my life so much. It allowed me to do those things until I got to the point where I didn't need to have, which was good because his hip started getting bad. He had some issues and we were able to retire him. Right. And that bothered him because he was like, I don't go with dad all the time everywhere, but it was much different. He got to enjoy retirement. He got to eat a lot of snacks, and he was just such a good boy, man.
Well, and I know that we've talked about this on our previous episode, but there's there's an article that I wrote, shameless plug, on warfighter.org about connectedness and how it is arguably the number one preventer of suicide, right? Yep. So connectedness, what does that mean? You mentioned work. You mentioned your home and family life. So a lot of people don't experience connectedness at work. Yeah. A lot of people just go to work and they slave. They might have friends and that kind of thing.
Most people don't even know their neighbors, like not really.
Exactly. So the connectedness that you used to, and also, back in the day, people would work for the same company for 40 years and then retire with a pension. That's just not how it is anymore. Yep. And for better or worse, I think that locking yourself in like that might not be the right thing to do in today's day and age. But so you're missing that connectedness at work. You no longer have the connectedness with your boys and your unit because you're split up all over the world. Yep. You don't have any connectedness at home because you're carrying around so much shit that your family's fucking scared of you. Yeah. And they're walking on eggshells. And
what's going to trigger him?
Right. And all the while you think that you're walking on eggshells too. So it's like, and so having that connectedness with a dog can sometimes peel back some layers just enough to where you start having some connectedness with your family. You start opening up a little bit more. And I think that's a huge part of it, man. I mean, like I haven't experienced the same kind of trauma as you. But there were times where I felt that it was just me and Shasta. Yeah. Now, in reality, my mom and dad have had my back more than I'm extremely lucky. Extremely lucky. I have a great support system.
But we like to be independent. We don't want to go ask people for help. And
exactly. So that kind of you do fall in that trap where it's like it's just me and her. And tomorrow, instead of just not giving a fuck and laying in bed and smoking weed and like skipping class, I got to get up and I got to earn some money because I got to buy her a $30 bag of dog food.
That's right.
And so it's like some days, even though I knew that I had a lot more to live for than feeding my dog.
Yeah.
But some days that's what I honed in on. That's what I focused on. And I don't think that anything provides that to you quite like a dog does. So,
Dude, I'm so glad you brought that up. And here's why. So the Atlas Project, by the way, I didn't know that that's what it was going to be called. We had talked about doing it when we talked with Captain Rich Alamo from the Sacramento Fire Department about potentially essentially funding these dogs. The dogs would be donated, their training would be donated, but everything after that, the city council would not fund. They weren't going to pay for these dogs. They weren't going to, even though these dogs are going to work for the city and help their members, they didn't find it valuable enough to use money to do that. So Warfighter Overwatch, we said, absolutely, we'll fund these dogs. It's about $3,500 a year for the dog for as long as they work for SACFire. And that's for vet bills, food, dog toys, that sort of thing. So first off, I didn't know it was going to be the Atlas Project. When Fawn told me you guys had come up with a graphic and showed me, and, he was still here. It was knowing that he was going to have a legacy that was going to live beyond, his life. That for me was invaluable, because of what he's meant for me and just the stuff that he's done. Really excelled. He was such a breed ambassador for pitties. For
100%.
People would see him.
That's a huge different, like a whole additional aspect to this that people don't understand how special that dog was.
He was in magazines. He's done a lot of cool stuff. Met a lot of celebrities, but there's a lot of people, whether they're grunts, first responders. That's why I love this Atlas Project, because sometimes people don't want to go to a perfect stranger and tell them about their worst moments on this earth, right? And I get that. I get that, because when I think about that stuff, I get this lump in my throat and I don't know how to spit those words out. It feels very hard. Mm. But these guys, they don't always have to do that. If there's a dog there and science shows that they can kind of unload their crap with this dog, and it's like a therapy session for 6 months in a matter of minutes, right? So why aren't we invested in this more? Well, that's why we hope to be a model for the rest of the country. But, and it is growing, but knowing that Atlas is going to be, the face of that and the name of that, it makes me extremely happy, makes my cup full, because his name is not an accident or a mistake. Excuse me. He was the name Atlas he was not a god. He pissed Zeus off, and Zeus said, "Hold this, right? Because you've made me angry." And so he was a Titan, I believe, but they made him hold the weight of the world. Mm-hmm. And he was going to, as my service dog, there was times when I was going to have to give the weight of my world to him, and he was going to have to shoulder that for me for a while. And he did every time.
I've always been curious about the origin of that name. That's a really cool.
Yeah.
That's a really cool origin story for him.
So now I got to think of a tattoo to get for him, but
I was just going to say, Shasta is tattooed on me, and she's still alive, dude. That's how much I love that dog. Yeah. I got her face right on my body, dude.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. And, dogs also have an intuition. Like, Shasta is not trained for any of those sort of things, like beyond pretty elementary training.
Yeah.
She went through basic obedience, and then for about 3 months, we went to another class that I paid for like a year or two after I got her.
Yeah.
When I moved back to SAC. And it's because I was like depressed, dude. I just gotten out of a rough breakup, and she was all I had again. Yeah. But she, it's funny, dude. Like, when she can tell when her intuition is crazy. She can tell when I'm on edge, especially if I've like lost something. Cause that is one of the things that like sends me off immediately, is if I just put something down and then I can't find it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck? And I will just like rip up all the couch cushions. I'm like, okay, not in the couch. Like, fucking here we go again. You know what I mean? And I'm all pissed off. And Shasta like tackles me, dude. Like, if the second I sit down, she jumps right between my legs and just like puts one arm on each side of my hips
Mm-hmm.
and just like stares at me with this like, the Aussie grin.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck, how can I be mad at that?
Can't.
You just can't. Like, she
Yeah.
gets it. She knows that.
Listen, man, there's this old adage. Maybe it's a joke. I don't know. I found it pretty serious. But, talk about unconditional love. Love, lock your dog or your spouse in the trunk of the car and come back an hour later, open it up, see which one's happy to see you.
Yep.
That's how you know which one loves you. In all seriousness, that dog meant the world to me, man. And that he's not here, it crushes me. But the fact that I had him for as long as I did and the impact he had in my life and then thousands of others makes me happy. So, again, to Atlas.
Cheers to Atlas.
Yeah. So.
You have another dog?
Yeah, we got 2 more. Liberty and Pumpkin.
How are they doing?
Pumpkin is gone and sniffed his bed and laid in it, and I could tell she misses him. She knows he's not there. Liberty's a spaz, so it's hard to see any difference in her behavior. But, it's tough, man. My kids, it's hard for my kids. He's been there for so long, and he's just, it's been tough. It's been tough. But listen, if there's one thing that, I've come to learn, it's the circle of life. We all are going to die. And if we talk about the quality of life that dog had and the things he got to do, from being pet by Buster Posey and Charles Woodson and, just Marcel Reese was my favorite because he had
some pretty sick pets, dude.
It was absolutely insane. Like some of the reactions I got, because Buster was like, bro, he is so calm. And I was like, he's a service dog. He's like, my dogs aren't anything like this. Like, what kind of dogs you got? He's like, those are Malinois. I was like, listen, bro, your dogs are meant to rip someone's face off. They need all day long, like, focus training, a mission, a task, or they're going to chew your house. And he's like, yeah, they're crazy, man. And I was like, my dog makes sure that I don't chew your face off, right? Because I would, sometimes it wasn't necessarily like, oh, I'm having bad thoughts about my buddy getting killed. It's like whatever's happening right now is making me, instead of I don't have a flight response and I don't have a freeze response, but I got this other one and it's not healthy for me right now. And this dog will stop me from having that fight response so that I can just turn it down and be like, you know what? Hey, listen, bud, talk all the mess you want, flip me off, honk at me, do whatever you want. Cause I got the 5-year rule is whatever this asshole is driving without a blinker, cutting me out, whatever. Are they going to matter in 5 minutes? No, I don't even know them. They don't know me. All right. If it is going to matter in 5 minutes, I give it its due diligence, whatever attention it deserves. If it's going to matter in 5 years, then maybe this requires a little more attention. But if it's not going to matter in 5 minutes or 5 years, I don't give a shit. I move on with my life. But I didn't know that in the beginning, and I didn't know how to implement that. But that fucking dog helped me.
It's like if I just had a magic remote and every time somebody pissed me off, I could hit a pause button.
Yeah, man.
And just take fucking 10 seconds.
Yep.
I'd probably come around.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what a dog does for you. It's like, hey, here I am, dude.
Yep.
I want some pets.
Yeah.
What's up? And
give me all your crap.
Yeah.
And I'll turn it into tail wags. Watch this.
Yeah.
So we got to do that for the firefighters, man. And we're working on doing it. We're going to bring in some horses here pretty soon. There's a lot of cool stuff, man. I can't wait for our next board meeting, talk to you guys about some of the things that Fawn and I have been working on a little bit.
Dude.
And we're going to get another squad recon going. We got some big things, golf tournament, all that stuff. But yeah.
I'm super looking forward to the golf tournament this year.
Dude, so we got all kinds of stuff to get into.
Yeah. Let's jump into some of it.
Yeah.
So China is spying on us, dude. Right above fucking Montana. And we're just gonna let it happen. We gotta wait till they're done.
Hit the blue button.
Fucking spying. Oh yeah.
So what's up with Balloon Gate, bro?
Yeah.
What's up with Balloon Gate? Listen, we have a balloon that they believe is spying on us from China. They have the route that it took, and they're just gonna let it stay there for how long?
All right, so we have Anthony Blinken said he has postponed his upcoming trip to China in response over the spy balloon.
Uh-oh.
The Pentagon Friday said that it knows it's a surveillance balloon that violated U.S. airspace and international law, rejecting China's earlier claim that the balloon was a civilian airship for research that deviated from course.
So we are saying that it was, in fact, spy
The Pentagon is acknowledging that it is a spy plane and that they reject China's claim that it is a civilian airship for research that deviated from course. The Pentagon said the balloon does not present a current threat.
So
pause.
Yeah.
Fucking pause. What do you mean?
It's not a threat.
Yeah, so I just want to be clear here. We're totally cool with China sending over a balloon to spy on Americans in America, and we're not going to do, at least for now, publicly, we're not going to do anything about it, and we're just going to leave it there. They're in Montana. They're shooting at that shit. Someone's got a damn 30-30. They got the Creedmoors, 308. They're shooting at this thing. 100%.
Well, so this is from CNN's Morgan Rimmer. First of all, tough name. Second, it's from CNN, so take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
But she quotes Senate Intelligence Committee Chairman Mark Warner saying there's no way that the CCP would allow a balloon like this to fly over the Chinese heartland. China's aggressive behavior is a violation of international norms and allows a reckless disregard for the safety of American citizens. So this is Senate Intelligence Committee Chairman Mark Warner.
So what do you think? Like, what do you think that they're spying on us, and what do you think they're doing it for? What are they trying to gather?
Well, what's in Montana?
Well, we got an Air Force base there that houses some munitions that are pretty big.
Yeah. So meanwhile, you have this whole situation with Russia. So how far in cahoots do you think Russia and China are currently? How much do you think?
What is my measuring stick? It's pegged at 10.
Yeah.
They're in cahoots. 10.
Yeah, they're in fucking cahoots, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So you have Russia that's threatening nuclear war, stating that we've basically escalated it to the point that it would be justified.
Right.
And you have a Chinese fucking balloon floating over literal missile silos and shit in Montana. So how this isn't a threat to the American people. And first of all, let's just say that they're taking let's say they're stitching together a topography map of Montana.
Mm-hmm.
Great. I don't care. I don't care if you're going to make little 3D maps to sell on fucking Etsy. Stop. Not in our airspace, dude.
Those are pretty cool, by the way.
So how have we not shot this thing down? How have we not at least escort? Like, how are there not planes circling this motherfucker? I mean, there might be, but I've historically on this podcast played devil's advocate. I will say we are stacked in the South China Sea. It's kind of the same shit.
Fair enough. And because I know we like to provoke people. Here's my question or my issue. We care so much about Ukraine that we're sending them, I'm writing them off my taxes, billions of dollars, trillions of dollars, whatever the fuck it is at this point. Tanks now, which is the escalation I think you're referring to, right?
Escalation.
So Biden decided he's going to give some tanks and shit and so did Germany, I believe. They're going to give some stuff to Ukraine. So why do we care so much about Ukraine? I get it, they're our allies, but we're going to get involved. We're going to give them money, and we're going to give them now some toys and tanks. But we're not even going to take this fucking balloon down that's in our country from China. So this, at the end of the day, just being trying to be objective is present. And I don't give a fuck if it was Trump. I don't care if it's JFK. I don't give a shit if it's George fucking Washington. It brings me back to Biden, to Hunter Biden, and his relationship with folks in China and folks in Ukraine. Like, is this what they bought? Is this what they're getting for whatever collusion shit that they were doing? I don't know. But it doesn't look good. And then the fact that this is the stuff that, as we just talked about a little bit ago, maybe we should start stacking some food and prepare for, not so good days. And I don't think that the country as a whole is really prepared for some tough times kind of shit. We're very soft as a country.
Literally soft body.
Doughboy fucking. Woo-hoo.
Yeah.
Soft. Just like we talked about with La Sierra, bro. Like if they instituted those same things again, where at school, before they become adults, they're physically, mentally, and spiritually fit. whatever that means.
But you know the funniest thing about all that is that those are just incidental like side effects.
That's right.
The number one thing that instills in people is discipline. Discipline, and nobody has it, dude.
No.
I lack discipline often.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck, dude, I need to like step my game up.
Goggins thinks he does.
See?
He calls himself, oh, you little pussy bitch, you need to work harder, right? And then meanwhile, he's running 37
If that guy
miles.
needs to work harder, like, what do I need to do? And that motivates me. I don't know if everybody he's
different.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, I can't do what he does, but it motivates me to try. I don't think that a lot of people feel that way when they see somebody who's superior. This goes into intimidation, like we were talking about earlier. How intimidating is David Goggins?
What a great segue.
He's very intimidating, right?
Yeah.
Is that his fault?
No.
No, it's not. It's your fault.
That's right. You're uncomfortable by his presence because you know that you lack the discipline that he has.
That's it.
Yeah. You feel inferior because you know you are.
That's the fucking clip.
Bro, it's not just that. It's intelligence too.
Yep.
Right? So this leads in the same thing. If you feel like you have,
inferior.
forget that.
If you feel inferior in any fucking way,
yeah,
that person's going to be intimidated.
Yeah. How oppressive they are. That's why we give participation trophies. I don't fucking like it. I never will.
I hate it. We I won't say who or what league or whatever, but like someone I know was a soccer coach. And at their awards ceremony, it was their first year coaching soccer.
Was it Ted Lasso?
No.
Okay.
No. But like she had, as a coach for their end of the year party, had to come up with an MVP award for every player. So MVP of kindness, the MVP of athleticism, the MVP of most improved, which is, I always got most improved awards. I never got any cool awards, but like I was always busting my ass, dude. And so I don't know, that to me just instills why am I special? What are you going to recognize me for?
In football, we gave away 3 trophies. And I think for every year that I played Pop Warner, I got 2 out of the 3. And I don't like, I always laugh when it's like, you're not that guy, pal. We had best offensive player, best defensive player, and MVP. I got best offensive player and MVP every fucking year. I was a quarterback. They scored the majority of the fucking touchdowns. In the beginning, we would run the ball a lot.
Yeah.
So I was the fastest guy on the fucking team. And one of the things that we would do is a lot of times I would bring slot receiver in motion. And we like fake it to him, or I didn't even fake it to him sometimes. As soon as he would get behind me, I would hike the ball, turn around.
What high school did you go to?
I moved around about. I went to like 7 different high schools.
Were you
Calaveras
like,
High School.
Were you running like fucking wing T?
We didn't run wing T.
Dude, I hated
We
that.
did not run wing T. We ran a pro set. We ran,
offense. Fucking wing T.
We ran an I formation because we used fullbacks. We did a lot of running shit. And we wouldn't throw the ball.
I was all pro set till I got to varsity. Then we moved to a spread.
Yeah.
That was when spread hit high school like a storm.
Well,
dude.
that's when really the like passing game changed for high school, because most schools at the time were fucking, some form of student body left, student body right. You're talking about veer options and things. It was always options, right?
Yep.
So, I'll give you an example. My freshman year, the coach for the varsity, he knew who the freshman incoming quarterback was, right? So he's got me out there. We got a new weight room that's right across from the science class, who happens to be the wide receivers coach. So I'm out there. He pulls me out of the weight room. This is like week 2 of fucking school, freshman year. And he's like, all right, run the 34 veer option. And I'm like,
what?
Yeah, what do you mean? And he's like, do it.
You're like, I have options?
I don't even have a football. There's nobody else out here. I'm like, okay. So I fucking act like I hike the ball, a fake handoff, and then a pitch. He's just looking at my footwork. He wants to watch me do. I literally did this for, I don't know, 5-10 minutes. Seemed like a long time.
Yeah.
The people in the science class are all looking at me, and then they were giving me, a couple of them were giving me shit later at lunchtime. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, bro?
Running veer options for the fucking science teacher at lunch.
Well, it was
in class.
It was the PE teacher, but the science class was right across.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, the little hallway there. But here's the thing, though. We lost 1 game that freshman year.
Hell yeah.
The next year, my sophomore year, there were like 4 of us that were going to get pulled up to the varsity. He had a heart attack. So, yeah. So they told him he wasn't allowed to coach because they didn't want him to have another one and fucking
fired
die.
up on the sideline.
Oh, yeah. So he got fired up over everything. Oh, he was intense, which I liked. I loved. But so he wasn't allowed to coach. So they brought in this new coach. This guy wasn't the teacher. I don't even know where the fuck this guy came from. He's a new coach. He's not bringing anybody because he doesn't know who we are. So he's not bringing anyone up from the sophomores or like the JV team. He's not bringing any of us up. But Stepanski had already put us in 6-period PE with the varsity. And that's because on Thursdays, specifically, we would go do like a scrimmage and we would go down there and get fucked up.
Yeah.
All right, punt return. Like special teams and shit, they're out there headhunting us, bro. Because I'm 135 pounds, 40, but whatever it was, freshman year, I'm getting fucking wrecked.
Yeah.
By guys who were 200 pounds. Whatever, man. You know, I learned a lot during that, but I think I'm grateful that even though it didn't happen, it made me want to work hard. We didn't lose any games my sophomore year. We didn't lose a fucking game.
Yeah, dude. For me, the awards that I always got, so I was always like an inch too fucking short or a second too slow or whatever. And so I always got special teams and scout team awards.
Oh, yeah.
Now, when I went to college, or I played at Butte,
Yeah.
I knew that we were playing with D1 talent. I mean, like some of those guys went to the league.
Yeah. And so I graduated from Grant, but, you know.
Right, yeah, dude. Fucking Stallworth is a legend there. Like
him and my brother played basketball. So they were in the state championship against the Collins brothers.
Yeah, yeah.
And they played at Arco Arena back in the day. It's so funny.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of powerhouses around here.
Yep.
Folsom was not one yet when I graduated.
No.
They were on their way to being one, though. I think they won their first state championship like 2 years after we left. So we were like, fuck. But we go up to Butte, and those guys are the real deal, dude.
Yeah.
D1 talent.
Yeah.
Maybe they got in trouble. Maybe they didn't have the grades. Maybe they didn't have the money.
Yeah.
Maybe they just didn't get a scholarly and didn't have the money. Or maybe they got scholarships that they didn't want to take, and
Leave state
they were
or
like,
whatever.
fuck this. I am D1.
Yeah.
And so, dude, I actually, this is also a good segue into something else that I want to talk about too, because there's a dude at Butte that made a huge impression on me. I think about him all the time. I'll get into him in a second, but at Butte, it was a really good exercise for me in doing your part as part of a team without being the fucking hero.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Everybody's got a role, man, on a team.
And I'll never forget that going into my sophomore season. So I redshirted 1 year. Like I said, I crammed 6 years of college, or 4 years of college into 6. So I went into Butte as a redshirt because I was tiny. I gained like 20 pounds in the off season.
Yeah.
We won a national championship my redshirt year.
Hell
so
yeah.
I just got to watch our team go 12-0 and fucking, it was awesome.
That's
got a
pretty
ring.
rad. I would say get a ring. Yeah.
The next year, I was technically still a freshman. We got a bunch of really talented transfers. I didn't play shit. A little bit of special teams, but like mostly was just busting my ass on scout team. And I remember like some of my teammates giving me shit. Like, why is this dude like put up with this shit? You know what I mean? And it's like, well, cause bro, this is just my role right now.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, if any of us make it to the league, odds are we're going to be on a practice squad anyway. Like, because to make it to the league, you got to be the best player for fucking 5,000 miles of your home. Right.
Yeah.
So I just busted my ass on the scout team. That first year we're sitting at the award ceremony and they're going over like MVP, offensive MVP, defensive MVP, special teams. And then they go to like scout team and most improved. And I got both. And I was like embarrassed by it at the time.
Nah, man.
But like looking back at it, I'm like, dude, fuck that. That's just getting recognized for your work, which doesn't happen in the real world as much as we hope it would.
No, it does when you're a kid because they want you to realize the importance of hard work.
Work.
You know where my fucking MVP and best offensive player trophies are? In a garage in a box collecting dust, bro. They don't mean shit. They're my dad. I haven't seen him in fucking 25 years.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Because what they meant then was that I worked hard.
Yeah.
And I don't forget that. I remember asking dad to hang a fucking tire and swing that thing so I could throw a goddamn football through it, right? Like, it was like Ricky from fucking Boys in the Hood took a football everywhere I fucking went.
Right.
but the importance of hard work, that discipline. And I want to hear about your coach. So the reason I graduated high school and was able to join the Army on September 11, 2001 without a waiver or GED was because Coach Mike Albergini, who's a legend at Grant High School here in Sacramento, sent a lot of guys to the league. And these are people, this is the ghetto. These are people who, like, for the most part, this is going to be your way out. If you're going to go to college, it's not because your family can afford it. Otherwise, you wouldn't live in this shithole.
Right.
So
that was the reality for a lot of my teammates.
yeah, I mean, it's just true.
Their families were not paying for college. Period.
That's right. So
they were so talented, dude. They still are.
I had been behind in my grades. I had cut school. I was not a good student. I had a lot of stuff happen my freshman year. My dad and my stepmom got divorced, and we moved to Stockton, and I went to Stag, and then like all these things happen. Well, when I got to Mike Albergini, Coach Al didn't care about, not that he didn't care about what was going on at home or whatever, he did, but he didn't let you use that as an excuse. He would hold you accountable, right? Because he needed discipline from you. If you were ever going to survive in this world, there's like a couple things you need to do. One of them is graduate high school. Don't have kids before, like it's not even college. Yeah. Graduate high school. Don't have a kid before you turn, I think it was like 25 or some shit like that. Like there's a few things that you can do and make sure you have it correlates with happiness.
Yeah.
So I was going to night school so that I could catch up and graduate. And it didn't look like it was going to happen, to be honest. But Al said, you got to come to Grand East. Yeah, Grand East. And essentially there's like an adult school there at night. So I would go to school all day. I would have, I think it was like an hour and a half, maybe between. I don't even think it was that, maybe. And then I would have night school for 3 hours or whatever.
Fuck.
So I did this for months. One night, I said, fuck it. Tired. So I went and hooked up with my homie, went to the house, smoked some weed, chilled out. I'm living with my brother. I don't have parents telling me to go to school at this point. Like, right. I don't need it.
How old are you?
17.
Okay.
18. Maybe I had just turned 18. Somewhere in there. I don't know, because it was like, so it was in 2000. Right? I think I was probably 17, 18. Anyhow, he was like, so I went to school the next day. I go back to the night school, and he said, where were you yesterday? And I could have told him a bullshit story.
Yeah.
He usually saw through that kind of crap, though, and I wasn't much for lying. So I wanted to tell him the truth anyways. And I said, I needed a fucking night off, and I hung out at home or whatever. And he was like, if you take another day off, I won't be here when you get back.
Yeah.
If this is important to you, if this is a priority, then you will show up. If not, don't waste my time.
Yeah.
So this motherfucker was going to work every day. And then after that, because it wasn't football season, he was there.
Yeah.
He didn't have to be over there, and he was. I did my fucking work, and I graduated high school because of him. And that led to everything else, right? So
what was his name?
Mike Albergini. The stadium is named after him. He was like 40 years there.
Is he still alive?
Yeah.
Shout out Coach Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the man. In fact, I think his son lives here in Folsom, pretty sure.
Nice.
It's coaches have a funny way of being a parent that's not your biological family and demanding the most from you.
Dude, so yeah, this
not asking, demanding and getting it, hopefully.
I want to talk about Coach T for a second.
Yeah.
Now, Coach T, his name was Willie Thomas. It is Willie Thomas. I'm not sure if he's still coaching at Butte. I'm sure he is. He was our defensive coordinator and our D-line position coach. I am not a D lineman. This guy wasn't even my fucking position coach. And he had a lasting impression on me that I carry till now. I mean, I left Butte 12 years ago.
Yeah.
And I still think about the things that he would say to us all the time.
Yeah.
And so
that's special.
Basically, so just to finish up the last part, like between after training camp, my sophomore year, I was like 20 years old. I was in the best shape of my life. the best shape of my life, I was running a 4.6. So, it's not like I was crazy, but like I was probably 195 pounds, probably had 6% body fat.
Yeah.
I fucking looked great.
Yeah.
He pulls me in and we had these individual meetings with our coaches after double days to talk about things like playing time, because sometimes we would get sophomore transfers that were D1 talent, and dudes that had put in work for 2 years would get bumped.
Yeah.
And that's just the reality of JUCO football.
Yeah.
Well, it's the reality of football, period. Because that can happen at any level.
Yeah. That's why the NFL stands for not for long, bro.
Right.
Yeah.
So we have these individual meetings, and I'll never forget that we're sitting with all our defensive coaches. My position coach used to buy Adderall from me, so I didn't really give a fuck about what he had to say. But I think he was like a assistant D coordinator. His name was Nino Pinocchio. One of the coolest fucking names ever.
That's pretty cool.
Coach Nino. He's about this tall and had a super high voice, like a cue ball head. Yeah. Fucking just a character. But he literally looked me square in the fucking eye and was like, dude, you could start at any fucking school in our conference. I have to tell you that because you have time to transfer. And I didn't believe him because, like, CCSF was City College of San Francisco was a powerhouse. Yeah. They had D1 talent. Almost every like a lot of the schools in our league had D1 talent. I did not think that I could just walk onto any other fucking team and start. Now, that said, we did have teammates that did it. He said that to other people too. They left and they started. Yep. And so, I had already had a redshirt year in. I had already had my freshman year in. This is my squad, dude. And I just told him, I was like, Coach Nino, I appreciate that. But like these are my guys. Mm-hmm. I know I'm not going to the league, dude. You're not talking to somebody who's going to transfer to Alabama. Like I have plans after this. Those fell to shit. But I was like, I have plans after this. I want to finish out this thing at Butte.
And the bonds you have with your teammates,
dude, my coaches and the community
it's
and
a
everything.
Family.
Yeah, I loved it. I had a lot of friends there, and I loved going to Butte. I said it a million times that I got 10-fold better education at Butte College than I did at Sac State. Yeah. But that's just the impression that the coaching staff, my teammates, the community, it helped that I was there with a couple of my childhood friends. Yeah. I wasn't going to fucking CCSF, dude. No fucking way. So, but a big reason of that was because of Coach T. Now, Coach T was our D coordinator. He's kind of like an assistant head coach, I guess, is what I would characterize his role as, at least at the time. Coach Robbie Snelling is now the head coach of Butte. He was our O-line and offensive coordinator. But Coach T, Willie Thomas, was our defensive coordinator. And so, and they don't really do this, at least in my experience, in high school ball because there's a lot of two-way players. They go both ways. But it means something a lot different in 2023. They play on both offense and defense. And at the college level, when you start specializing, you split up. You even have different colored jerseys and shit, which you don't have in high school, at least when I was in high school. I'm sure they do now, especially in a place like Folsom. But
I didn't even like wearing the little red flap.
Yeah, I bet.
I didn't like wearing that. I'd tell Coach, I don't need to wear that.
So we would run. He would condition the fuck out of us, dude. And especially during like double days when he was really trying to like see who had
who's got that heart,
who's got
that
heart.
dog in him.
Because they might have had to make cuts. I never heard anything about getting cut because I never was cut. I'm sure that they did cut people, but
part of that is who you're gonna play too. Because if you see that someone maybe isn't necessarily the same physical specimen, but he has that Rudy mentality.
Yeah.
All right, Rudiger. Fucking let's go.
I'm pretty sure that one of our guys came to the team. He had the biggest heart on the fucking squad, but I'm pretty sure that he came here from like prison. He was like 35 years old and would fucking smoke cigarettes at practice. And we were just like, dude, what are you doing?
He might have been in the military.
Possibly. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
old rugged staff sergeant had enough.
But we would split up into offense and defense, and we would do these conditioning drills. One of them was progressions. You'd start with like 4 100-yard sprints. if you did those and nobody bent over and everybody fucking ran through the line, which, never fucking happened.
Ever.
We would go down to 680s. And
Yeah.
if we nailed those, we'd go down to 840s. If we nailed those, and it just went on and on down the line till we were sprinting 5-yard sprints.
Yeah.
And it was brutal, dude.
Yeah.
They were brutal.
And
Puke, baby.
Or the 300-yard shuttle is the fucking worst thing on planet Earth. But anyway, Coach Snelling would do the offense. So he would say whatever, because he would oversee the offensive practice, and he would see things that they fucked up on, and he'd be like, hey, man, we fucking jumped off sides 6 times today. What the fuck?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so they would get grilled, and then the defense would get grilled by Coach T.
Yeah.
And there's one thing that has stuck with me, one quote from Coach T, and I didn't know it at the time. I believe it's an Emily Dickinson quote, but he would say, and he had this booming voice. He would say, we take care of the little things, and the big things will take care of themselves. And he would elaborate, he'd be like, our conditioning, that's a fucking little thing. You put in the work here, the games will go our way. And he always elaborated a little bit on whatever he shared. I mean, there were a few times where, someone got caught smoking weed, and he'd give us, there's this no room for weed or alcohol at Butte College. I'm like, bro, we're in Chico. You know what I mean? So, but like, at the same time, that Emily Dickinson quote has always stuck with me. So it's like, and then you get into, there's some other people who've kind of keyed in on that idea, like that Navy admiral that wrote the Make Your Bed book.
Yeah.
That's a little fucking thing, dude.
Yep.
It's the littlest thing that you can do in the morning. It takes 10 minutes. I mean, for me, it takes 20 minutes because Alyssa has 40 pillows on our bed. It's absurd. And there's a certain order. And so for me, it's an endeavor. But making your bed is so simple. And it's, for me, he argues that it's about getting your first victory of the day.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily believe that that's what it's about.
Yeah.
But I think it's just the discipline of such a menial task. Like, if you can't fucking just make your bed every day, how are you going to go out and win the rest of the day?
Yeah.
If you can't run from goal line to goal line at practice on Tuesday, how the fuck are you going to win on Saturday? Yeah. Was basically his message. Yeah. And that's always stuck with me, dude. And there's been times where I haven't taken care of the little things. And I think about that quote. Yeah. And I just remember him saying all that shit and then saying down and then blowing the whistle and having to fucking run. And, but yeah, shout out Coach T, shout out Butte College and all my teammates.
Shout out.
I think about y'all all the time. I miss you guys.
I'll say this, if there was one thing that I could impart on my younger self, if there was some information that I could tell young Danny, I know what it would be, and it's stay the course, man. Yeah. It's whatever it is that you want, that you're trying to accomplish. You fucking keep grinding at it until you achieve that, and then you set the next goal and the next one. Because there were definitely times when things felt overwhelming or hard as a young person, like, oh, how am I going to deal with this, right? Well, it's the first time you've ever dealt with this, so you're going to figure it out. You're going to fuck it up, and then, the next time you have to deal with it, you're better at it. And doing those little things, like, in the Army, we always say slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Because if you do it slow and smooth, you do it correctly one time. You don't have to go back and fix the things, right?
Measure twice, cut once.
That's it. So there's so many people who fuck that up over and over and over again. And then they don't ever go back to reflect or figure out, like, hey, I don't want to make this mistake again, or I want to make sure that, I eliminate these, obstacles or whatever. We screw that up. But that's why those coaches, like when we're kids, that's why it's so important for kids to have a sport, to do something, competition, team sport too. I don't want them doing just some individual sports are good, but team sports, like you said, it makes you realize that sometimes you have a role and it may not be the role you want.
You might not be the star of the show.
That's
dude.
right.
But everybody, I like to think, and this is really, really generous of me to myself, but I like to think that if I didn't bust my ass on scout team every fucking week, that maybe someone would have gotten lazy. Maybe we would have lost a game.
That's right.
I didn't want to carry that burden. You know what I mean? And like, dude, I have to shout out Adam Harmon too. He was a redshirt the same year I was, but he immediately went to become a starter.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he would have if he didn't bust his ass. That's how much the coaches watch the scout team. So it's like, if you don't practice, like you practice like you play.
So
you
that
play like you practice.
So today is Michael Jordan Day or some shit, right?
Yeah.
23. 23. All right. I'm a big proponent of Jordan shoes. I have a lot of shoes, a bit of a shoe whore. Today, I happen to be wearing a pair that is special as Jordan shoes that he wore for the Olympics. When I got these, it came with a little story in the box. And it talked about, it's like the best game nobody ever watched or something like that. And essentially, it was kind of a passing of the torch. Jordan was infamous for going so hard at practice, his teammates would think he was out of line or overdoing it or who knows what. He, in turn, thought they were being lazy. How are you going to play hard in the game if you're playing soft or lazily in practice? Just didn't equate. Made sense to me. But in this story, it talks about how Jordan had kind of one team and Magic had kind of another squad. And they played in this game. And initially it started with like a foul, then a little bit of trash talking. And then I think Magic's team was up by like 8. Jordan took over the show. Yeah. It was a fucking wrap. And it was like, nobody ever got to see this. It was like one of the best games. And this is the dream team.
Yeah.
So you
like
have
a closed practice, right?
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
And so they didn't get to see it, but they were like, it's a story of legends. And MJ was like probably the biggest proponent, at least in my young life, that said, you practice hard.
Yeah.
That way, when it comes time for the game, you're ready to go. And I say this now knowing, because I didn't know this back then, that, Jordan may have just played 36 rounds of golf and drank a case of beer.
Yeah.
And he's still going to go drop 40. And he gambled against this dude $100,000 that he was going to drop 40, have, 6 rebounds and, however many say. He was just fucking, he was another animal. But
I remember the footage of the bus ride after.
Yeah.
It's pretty great.
That's why I think as a society, we like sports. We like the Cinderella stories. We like the underdog, particularly because it shows you that if you work hard, even if you're not on paper as good as this other team, you show up and you can fucking win because you've done in the work. You put in the time, and now you can get the fruit of your labor.
Who do you got in the Super Bowl?
The Eagles.
Got to be the Eagles.
Well,
right?
2 reasons. I'm a Raider fan, so I have to say fuck the Chiefs. Secondly, the Eagles are special this year, man.
They're special. I really want the Eagles to win.
Their defense is good, and Jalen Hurts is something else, man.
Jalen Hurts is my favorite quarterback in the league right now.
Well, and Mahomes, he's got the high ankle sprain.
Yeah.
He can't run like he can't do all the things that he normally can do when he's fully healthy.
Shit, dude.
So that's gonna hinder him some.
Yeah.
And when you have someone who can run 100 and something yards in a game, take the beating that comes with it, and still throw bombs to fucking AJ, but
and we're not even talking about Miles Sanders yet. Like,
oh God.
Dude,
yeah,
it's I think that it's going to be a real tall order for the Chiefs to win this game.
Agreed.
And as an Alabama fan, with Jalen and Devontae, like, I want them to win. I'm also a big Sirianni guy. I think that guy is a fucking character. Have you ever seen his press conference? His introduction press conference?
Yes.
He's like, dude, can we put that up?
Yeah.
Let's put that up.
That's fucking hilarious, by the way. I forgot about that until you mentioned. Literally forgot all about that until you brought it, because that was on ESPN for like several days. There were memes, the whole bit.
Oh yeah, our fucking YouTube comments. So
we got some more good ones.
So, all right. So okay, our YouTube comments.
So just for context, we brought up last time how like Twitter's the meanest place. You get on there, you say, I like pancakes. Someone else will say, what do you got against waffles?
Yeah.
Like, they just want to fight and argue on the internet.
So we got some fun comments. And now one thing that we did kind of change up our strategy a little bit as far as how we're marketing the podcast. So we got like tenfold the views that we normally do. And when that happens, you get
the best of
the people that come out of the woodwork, dude. So like I actually measure this. So you know how they say the road to a good drive is a hard slice, then a bad hook, and then you can fucking hit the ball straight.
Uh-huh.
So I think that we're slicing right now.
Got it.
You get the slice is you're getting enough views, but the people that are taking the time to leave comments are either like related to us and they're really, really nice.
Or basement dwellers.
Or they're basement dwellers. Yeah.
All right.
So the first one, this dude says, he goes, they let anyone have a podcast these days. That guy fucking sucks. Now, in this video, we were both in it. So he says that guy fucking sucks. Now, I'm not entirely sure who he's talking about, but they do let anybody have a podcast these days. And if you weren't jerking off at home, you could have one too.
That's not true. In China, they might not. Yeah. No blogs about the shit going on in China.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. Maybe they took a Chinese blogger and sent him up in that balloon. They're like, let's get the fuck rid of this guy.
Yeah.
One guy said, Patriotic Podcast, more like the Gaytriotic Podcast. Great chirp. I have nothing to say to that guy. I'd fucking fist bump him if I could.
Yeah.
One guy says, and I quote, like, I'm not censoring myself. I'm reading his comment as he left it. I'm always going to say the N-word no matter what. And I almost replied, except that time.
Because he didn't say it.
He didn't say it. So, but, hey.
Well, I don't even know what that's in context to.
I don't either.
Because I'm pretty sure we didn't talk about that.
Yeah.
By the way, you should never use the N-word. Unless it's no. You should use that word a lot.
Yeah. But, yeah. So.
Wow.
It was, you know, I got one comment on our website. This lady, it was our first podcast, and she was like, this is the worst podcast I've ever watched, and my life is worse after having watched it. Like, she left a paragraph like this long. That was several months ago, but it was pretty funny. I just pulled up my notes.
I'm going to go on there and flirt with these people.
So let's watch this Nick Sirianni.
I can't believe I literally forgot all about this until you brought it up again. Hey, but it's better than, you know, the Eagles.
Yeah.
Right, and it's coming through the ground, and the roots are growing out, and the roots are continuing to grow out, and everybody wants to see results. Shoot, nobody wants to see results more than us, right? We want to see results too, but it's really important that the foundation is being built, and that the roots are growing out. And the only way the roots grow out every single day, and they grow stronger and they grow better, is if
we need some roots.
We all water. We all fertilize. We all
fertilize.
Each individual coach, each individual player, everybody in the building.
We all fertilize it.
Yeah.
So, dude,
most coaches provide some good, impactful motivation. That was something else.
So, yeah, I don't know how much I could get behind that. So there's a couple more topics that I want to pull up here.
Yeah.
So the first is, I had an interesting encounter the other day, at a vape store. So Steph, let me know. I've been on these stupid unflavored nicotine, which you already know how I fucking feel about that. And Steph was like, hey, found a spot that you can get flavored ones. You just have to order them online. And I was like, cool. I've heard about that already. So I ordered one and I go over there. And I asked him, because like I ordered it and like a couple hours go by, and I was on my way to Folsom. And a couple hours go by and I don't get a text that it's like ready or anything. So I just drive over there. And I was like, hey man, I made an order online. I just don't know if you guys like send out things, or if I could literally do that in the store and then just get it here.
Yeah.
He's like, that's what a lot of people do. And he was like, it just depends, because we can't display them. And I was like, okay. And weird. I didn't think anything of that until I asked him, like, while I was checking out, I was like, how long is this going to last? Because it pretty much just feels like I'm still buying a flavored nicotine vape in California.
Are they not supposed to be selling them?
No, like, so.
Or they can't till supplies run out?
Essentially, you have to set up an account, verify your ID like you do for a dispensary to make an online. It's like ordering weed now.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I do that. And he was like, or I asked him that. I was like, how long is this going to last before they just like ban online sales too?
Yeah.
And he goes, well, you know what? What's interesting is that we have had county and city level law enforcement come in and verify and check off on everything. They're totally cool with it. We used to have a giant display of all of our flavored nicotine because like most people think you can't buy it. So if there's a way around it, you want to display it, right?
Yeah.
The only people they've gotten a cease and desist from is Philip fucking Morris.
You're kidding me.
So I asked him, I was like, wait a minute. You got a cease and desist to stop displaying flavored nicotine that people can buy in your store
from the number one
Philip
fucking
Morris.
Tobacco manufacturer producer.
This is the owner. This is the owner of the shop that I'm talking to, and he was like, "Yeah," and I was like, how do they justify that?" And just as I asked that, this lady walks in. She was like, "Hey, do you guys have cigarettes?" And he was like, "No, we don't carry cigarettes." And she was like, "Okay, thanks," and just turned around and walked out. And he was like, That's actually why. So,
because they don't carry cigarettes.
He was like, any little mom and pop. This is a mom and pop shop, right? Their income has been completely turned upside down with this vape ban. He actually told me, he was like, I don't know how I'm going to keep this store. Like,
because they were selling, everything.
That's all they were. Yeah. Like people switch from
banana, grape, strawberry, you fucking name it. They got it.
So they got cease and desist from Philip Morris because they don't sell Philip Morris cigarettes in their shop. Yeah. They don't sell them. They have a couple locations. One of them, only one, does sell cigarettes. That one did not get a cease and desist. But because they don't sell Philip Morris products,
how does he even fucking know?
How does that? Well, I don't know. But how does that possibly make sense? Like, is that not like malicious litigation or like court? I don't know. Like, is it against the law to be a corporate bully? I don't know. Yeah. But like Philip Morris, already the most evil fucking organization on planet Earth,
straight doucher,
is like,
now bullies.
So that was pretty crazy. And then earlier, I think today or yesterday, so Alyssa watches the Drew Barrymore Daily Show.
I didn't even know that was a thing, but all right.
So she has a Daily Show. I'm going to withhold my opinion on this show. I like Drew Barrymore.
Yeah.
She's a sweetheart, but her show, like, it plays it so safe. It's like the Folsom TEDx, dude. It plays it way too safe. No. Everything is way too fucking rainbows and sunshine type shit.
Yep.
And so I walk in the room the other day and Alyssa's watching it, and they're talking about this feature on TikTok called neating, NEATING, as in like you think something's neat.
Neat, yeah.
But from what I understand from the few seconds I looked at it, and we should probably pull something up, it allows TikTok admins to basically choose what goes viral. So if they think something's super neat, they'll push it to the tops of the charts.
Now you can have 50 million views versus the guy who gets 200.
We already knew that social media companies did this, but to call it a feature and then market it is absurd. Yeah. And then especially when you know about how different TikTok in China is versus how different TikTok, versus US. Like, we have a bunch of like dumb people and dancing and violence and all kinds of shit like that on TikTok. Meanwhile, in China, it's all like science and mathematics and like cool shit that you can actually learn from. A lot of that some of it does trickle through on the US side, but I just thought that, like, it's so crazy that somebody like Drew Barrymore is like, this is so neat. Oh my God, kneading. I get it. Holy fuck, dude.
That's pretty much exactly what I pictured of the Drew Barrymore show.
Yeah.
But I'll say this. Fuck all the social media platforms because they're pieces of shit. So like, and I don't say that lightly. I thought that in the beginning, these were great because people could connect with anyone around the world
Except
right now.
YouTube.
Yeah, fucking YouTube.
No, except YouTube.
All right, except YouTube.
Yeah.
They're awesome
Yeah.
because they take care of everyone.
YouTube is good.
Yeah.
YouTube is good. Anyway.
Do I have to say Project Veritas is bad? Because I don't want to do it. Listen, they
Yeah.
took down the Pfizer video, and then they went and hit up the guy who's at YouTube who said, get rid of the Pfizer video. And then Instagram and Facebook got rid of that video. That,
Dude.
that's censorship. Like, what?
That guy was literally like, so there's one thing that he says in that video that I do believe, but
In the Pfizer video?
but to his detriment, I also believe everything else that he said.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I do believe, he was like, I was just trying to impress a date.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I know, dog. That's why you just divulged like corporate fucking secrecy
Secrets.
all over. Just
Get it
like,
for that
blah.
dick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're trying to get laid, bro.
Slut.
Hey, happens to the best of us, man.
Grinder got him. Listen, all I'm
Just-
saying is, if you have secrets, it's just like the Biden. You can't listen, sir. With all due respect, you can't put the goddamn classified information next to the fucking Corvette. Just because your garage is locked does not mean it's secure. Anyhow,
Trump and Biden are both fucking idiots for that.
Yeah.
Like, dude, it's a pretty simple protocol.
very simple.
Don't take shit out.
You can't disseminate, like none of this. Copy any classified information. If you do, 5 to 10 years. So depending on which law you broke, it's ridiculous.
I say they both do it.
Yeah, I'm not fucked up. I mean,
Both
listen,
do 5 to 10.
if you take classified information, like everybody, so for the folks who say, Trump was president, he could declassify shit. Did he?
He didn't.
Did he declassify and take it? That's different. If he then it's not classified,
Yeah.
right? So I got an issue with the classified shit.
Yeah.
I keep that same energy across the board because I'm tired of these motherfuckers doing whatever they want and perverting our system.
It's abuse of power, plain and simple.
Well, so is all these. That's why, unusual. That's why the fucking
Unusual
Pelosi
Will.
Act, all these things that they're trying to introduce, like, so that you can't be, because I think it
Did
was.
she dump off a whole bunch of Google after they announced that antitrust lawsuit?
Are you kidding
like
me,
3
bro?
weeks before they announced the antitrust lawsuit?
Oh,
Come the fuck on.
so was
How long are we going to accept this shit?
I think that creeper fuck's name, Matt Gaetz or whatever. He was
Oh,
like,
God.
so he's not great, but listen,
He looks like Beavis.
he does. The other day he was like, you can't. He's like, we are privy to information that the average American is not. We cannot make purchases or sales based on the information that we have that the average person doesn't. That's illegal and it should be. So,
14-year-olds, though.
then you can do whatever you want. It's legal in Tennessee or somewhere.
Fucking weirdo.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Fuck all those fucking pedos. So, yeah, I digress. I think that we should definitely have, that's why I just think we should vote these motherfuckers out. You do, if there's anyone that has 2 terms under their belt, don't vote for them on the next election. I don't give a fuck if it's one of those juggalo weird creepers. You fucking don't vote for someone who's been there for that way. We can get someone who's there for the people. And if you don't want that juggalo, don't vote for them. Make sure we have someone running who knows what the fuck they're doing. But this country is so full of clowns that it's just become one giant circus. It's sad.
Dude, we have active Congress people
Mhm.
arguing over Jewish space lasers.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
What?
how is that even a thing, dude? How is this even a thing? How is one person bringing it up, and how is one person even like
Acknowledging it.
yeah, like dignifying that argument at all?
Well, let me tell you where we're at in 2023. We are smuggling eggs into the country, and we had the biggest fucking egg, 100,000
Did you
chickens
see
and
that shit?
burned to the ground.
Did you see that shit? Literally, the last episode we
Yeah.
talked about that with Jewel. What?
Yep.
We didn't make it up, dude.
No. So I just, for future reference, for those of you who are at home listening, Ryan's mom, my wife, like the 6 of you who are out there listening, I just want to say,
Friends and family.
And
YouTube haters.
Go get dehydrated food, start stacking that shit up, get some gallons of water, get some ammo.
Get them army green powdered eggs, dude.
Hey.
Remember those motherfuckers?
Green eggs and ham, Sam I am.
Ugh.
Builds character, put hair on your chest or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah, something like that.
Fuck all that. Dude, all right. Switch gears again. A couple of videos were released this week. One of them was the Paul Pelosi video where he gets struck in the head by a hammer. Let's check this out.
All right, so I'm going to pause this right quick.
Okay.
I know that Nancy's not here,
She's not there.
but you have the third most powerful person in the country
Mm-hmm.
in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And why are cops responding to this? What agency was this? SFPD?
I feel like she has to live in San Francisco, right? If
Yeah.
she's going to represent them. Let me look. Well, the guy's from Richmond. Yeah. San Francisco police.
Okay. So kind of weird that there's not Secret Service there, right?
I think so.
I do too. Because I'm like, if you're going to protect former presidents,
Mm-hmm.
how are you not going to protect your possible third in line?
I don't know. They have security. So do they pull it when she's not there?
I don't. Well, so my thought is that, first of all, Paul Pelosi is absurdly rich. If he really wants security,
Well, I mean, he guesses right on every fucking stock he's ever bought.
Yeah, no kidding. Hire it yourself. But
Yeah, for sure.
a bigger concern is like Pelosi's out of town.
Yeah.
What if someone comes in there and just like plants a fucking
A bomb, anything.
or whatever.
Right.
So
Poison. Yeah, she's a fucking pretty hated person.
yeah, you could literally put like a super fucking radioactive piece of something in her house and just watch her literally fall apart. Like she already looks like she's 6 months into radiation poisoning. Imagine what she would look like if she actually got radiation poisoning. Yeah, rubbing knuckles like a fucking weirdo. So that is why I think that perhaps the Secret Service should be protecting her home no matter what, especially when she's in a weird ass city like San Francisco.
Wonder if they are now.
But
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack here.
one would think. So they're walking up to the door.
No, 2640.
They've already knocked.
Yeah, it literally said in there. Hi, how you doing?
Hi, how you doing?
Let's
going
pause
on,
it
man?
again. All right.
All right, so there's a couple of things to take a look at here. Now, first being, you can't see the drink right now, but Paul Pelosi has a drink in
Yeah,
his hand.
he has a cup. You can see the cup. I think that's the glass right there, right? Just the glass. You can't see his hand holding it.
Oh,
but I'm
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
sure that
There
is
it
the
is.
glass.
Yeah.
So he's got a drink. He's in he's what appears to be like boxers or something and a dress shirt.
Yeah. Why?
And this guy.
Why is he in a dress shirt? Are we sure that's not a robe? I
Right.
don't
So it
see,
doesn't look
a
like he
thing.
would okay. So it doesn't look like he was fucking in bed. Who sleeps with a fucking, starched dress shirt, pressure,
Yeah.
Okay. So, and he's got a drink. So maybe he's like lounging at home, having a fucking nightcap before he, goes upstairs or whatever, and have a drink.
Now, what is in? Because they're both holding a hammer.
They both got their hands on the hammer.
So Paul's right hand is on the hammer, and then dude's right hand is also on the hammer. Is Buddy also have a drink in his left hand?
I don't know. Run that.
Is that what I'm seeing? Because look at that.
It's a little.
Looks like
it's a little blurry right now, and I can't. Oh no, he had nothing in his hand.
Yeah, you're right. Okay.
And then he grabbed Paul's.
Nope.
All right, and they didn't shoot him, and they didn't pull his gun out, which I suppose, like, potentially in that situation, you just immediately run and tackle him. it's definitely not advised as a police officer. You probably more likely you want to shoot this motherfucker to keep distance, but that way you don't get smashed in the head with a hammer.
Yeah. So
But that's not what happened. So this guy's got a story to tell. He did apologize for not killing more of them or whatever he said. He's pretty crazy. DePape, something like David DePape or something like that.
yeah. So kind of weird when I learned about this. I didn't think that I thought that the body cam footage would show the aftermath of this. I didn't realize it literally happened with a wide open front door in front of cops.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking crazy.
Now, again, to play devil's advocate.
Yeah. That shows me this dude's got some mental issues. Like, you're going to hit another person with a hammer in front. You didn't do it before. You waited till the cops showed up, opened the door, and then you're going to do it.
He probably figures, I just broke into the third most powerful person in the country's house, and she's not home. I can't carry out whatever the fuck. Obviously, if you kill Nancy Pelosi, which he clearly intended to do, he is going to go out by the hands of probably some police or something. I think that
hang himself when the cameras aren't on.
I perhaps think that he realized he wasn't going to carry out what he set out to do, and
so he's like going to try to make him shoot him or something.
Yeah, I think that that's possibly what we saw in that footage. Also, Paul Pelosi holding the drink. I know that that's like a weird thing because everybody thinks that they were just like drinking together and having a good old time.
I thought initially, for some reason, I thought he was like at home asleep.
He woke him up, and this is all according to the police report. And then the 911 call kind of corroborates this. I mean, like, obviously you don't have video, you only have audio.
He was like trying to talk to this guy or something.
Well, he convinced him to let him go to the bathroom where his phone was charging.
Oh, yeah.
And so I don't know if he convinced him that he had to pee, or maybe he convinced him that, like, I need a glass of water.
Yeah.
And so maybe that's why he had the water in his hand. And then he calls 911. Police show up, and he fucking comes out, and he still has a glass of water in his hand. Now, if I came out and was holding a glass, and there's a guy with a hammer in front of me, I'm gonna keep a glass in my hand too, because I'm gonna break it and I'm gonna jab that guy straight in the fucking throat.
Yeah.
So I can understand having the glass of water. Now, it, like, him holding it like that and still having water in it is kind of weird, especially when there's a dude with a fucking hammer.
Yeah, lots to unpack.
And on top of that, you've literally gotten away with like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of illegal federal crimes.
Yeah.
What makes you think that if some guy breaks into your house and you kill him in your house, like, I'm pretty sure Paul Pelosi could have gotten off with that. So
yeah,
just a kind of weird thing. Now, I did show you.
So that's the other part of this. I just got to say that if I'm Paul Pelosi, I got guns all over my house because people don't like Nancy.
Well, yeah, and which is ironic because, it's kind of like Dianne Feinstein fighting against CCWs, despite having one since 1980 something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would imagine that there are all kinds of guns everywhere. But did you see the hammer evidence photo?
No. They're pretty. Get the fuck out of here, motherfucker. Pink dildo hammer. All right.
That's a real product, by the way.
Of course it is. I'm sure I can get it on Amazon delivered.
Yeah, it's
Prime
fucking hilarious.
Tomorrow.
You can get 1,000 of them on Alibaba for about $12 a unit.
Fucking wish. All right. So the other main video that got released this past week was the Tyre Nichols video. Yeah. And he happens to be here from Sacramento and then moved to Memphis. And his life was cut short, man. He was beat to death by 5 police officers there in Memphis. And, they immediately from all the video footage, and we don't need to show all that. Some of it's pretty lengthy, but essentially they said that there was some reckless driving potentially, which is why they were going to stop him, but they didn't conduct it like a traffic stop. It wasn't like, hey, the reason I pulled you over.
Their chief immediately came out and said that they had no probable cause. So I don't know if like somebody reported reckless driving and then they drove out and they thought that his car matched the description or whatever.
Yeah.
But Yeah, dude.
It sucks because everything after that, with like the video, I don't know if you watched it, but it was
Yeah, I did.
it was heinous, man. It was
It is
it
one
was
of
disgusting.
the most horrific things I've ever seen.
Yeah. It's definitely reminded me of that Rodney King fucking video, man.
Yeah, man. And I have a couple things to say about this. First is, and we'll get into our source in a minute.
Yeah.
The first is, again, it was so egregious. It looked personal. It looked I was kind of baffled by what I saw. And there's a lot of people that were online that were saying that they didn't hear much of anything about it because it wasn't a bunch of white cops beating a minority.
Mm-hmm. So for those of you at home who don't know, all 5 of the police officers who were, at least so far, that were involved are black, and the Tyre Nichols is also a black guy.
Yeah, it was black. And so I think that fact ignited a lot of division because, of course, the fucking scum of the earth.
Yeah. Race.
Well, I mean, like, honestly, in this situation, it was mostly racist fucking white people saying, like, see, exactly what we're talking about, black on black crime, blah, blah, blah. And, like, dude, it's fucking gut-wrenching to me to see comments like that.
Yeah.
It's just...
But it eliminates the fact that it was a human that lost his life, and,
Yeah. This is very much a human issue. I mean, like, it's very clearly a race issue too, in most scenarios, but it's a human issue. And I think that one of the things that I was proud of, I guess, as far as the administration that was taking care of this, is like, it was pretty swift.
Yeah. They did not waste time in firing these
wasted
folks.
no
not
time.
Not that I saw anyways. Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't, I think they said it took 3 weeks
to do their investigation.
Yeah, and and again, there's race baiters on both sides because, there were people that were saying, like, well, it wouldn't have happened that swiftly if all these cops were white. You know what? I don't know if I can refute that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know because I haven't seen it yet. Most of the time they get paid, put on paid administrative leave for a long ass time.
Yeah.
And then nothing really fucking happens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, very rarely do you see everybody involved held accountable immediately.
Yep.
And so,
right. So they fired. I forgot about that. They have now also fired
like
the
7
paramedics.
cops now.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure the paramedics for not administering aid and any of that.
I just don't understand how, as somebody, how so many people who have sworn in to protect and serve could stand by. I don't get it. And that's why, we talked to somebody earlier today that said that there might be some sort of connection between one of the officers and the victim.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any truth to that at all. I have no idea because I literally just heard about it.
And hopefully we'll find out a little more.
But I can't say that I relate to fearing for my life potentially because of the color of my skin. Clearly I don't. But my aunt, who I adore, married a black man from Memphis, who I adore.
Yeah.
And gave birth to a bunch of wonderful, wonderful cousins that I adore.
Yeah.
Jewel is one of them.
Yeah.
He's one of my best friends. And you have Colt, you have Trent, you have Miles, like all of them. I fucking love them.
Yeah.
And the thought of them being persecuted for the color of their skin fucking enrages me. It enrages me.
My grandpa killed Nazis, bro.
Yeah.
That's how we deal with racism. You know what I mean? Like,
So did
I
mine
just,
too, yeah.
like, this is,
Hey,
for me, this is wild
cheers
because
to our fucking granddads.
people forget about this kind of shit.
It fucking enrages me, dude.
So I want to go back real quick to what you said, to your question. How could this have happened? Why didn't anyone do anything, right, to stop this and say, hey, hold on, we're getting out of line. We're crossing the line.
Yeah.
Right? Some discipline, self-control, anything, de-escalation. None of that came into play here. None. The moment they stopped him, get the fuck out of the car. And it was immediate aggression. And, you know, by the way, my man's, I think they said 6'4", 140 pounds, some shit like that. He's got Crohn's disease.
Yeah.
My man, I'm 215 fucking pounds, right? Like any one of those dudes who look like they're as big as me could have just laid on that motherfucker and not move. He wasn't like actively trying to hurt them that I saw.
Yeah.
Okay. For me, the answer to that is fairly simple. When we have a system where we don't question anyone who outranks us, right? Or that there's no place to question what we're doing or the authority to stop a situation like that. Because to me, there's always someone senior there. There's always going to be when there's a bunch like that, 5, there's going to be a sergeant or someone, right? A corporal, someone who's been there long enough, who has authority, who says, hey, the fuck are you doing? You go take a break. Yeah. Sit in your car, fucking take a walk. I don't give a shit, but that's not what we do here. And that's if they're just being aggressive. If they are assaulting or accosting that person, listen, man, we're going to file a report. Like, essentially, the accountability is such a huge factor. Now, when we talk to, we have a friend that's a police officer and been one for, nearly 2 decades. And so we asked our friend, what are some of the things that lead to this, or, all that. I won't get into that person's opinion other than to say that they didn't think that what the police officers did was within any police policy.
Frankly, they were pissed.
Yeah.
They were pissed about what that does to their reputation here, 1,500, 2,000 miles away.
Yeah. And the backlash that our city will feel because he's from here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They were pissed that it makes the people who did sign the line to protect and serve and meant it.
Yeah, uphold those values and hold themselves to a higher standard.
Yeah, and like you were saying, there should have been, I don't know how long most of these people were police officers. Mm-hmm. There should be a sergeant there. There should be an FTO there. I also read an article, and again, I do not know the veracity of this article. I should check these sources, and I will. I'll overlay. I will overlay corrections if these are wrong. But I read an article that said that all 5 of the initial officers that were fired and arrested, all 5 of them were fast tracked through basically something where they did not undergo nearly as much training.
Rigorous.
Yeah. And so this comes down to, the argument to defund the police. Now, there's another thing that's relevant to our community is that there's a local, I don't recall where it is. It's within 50 miles of Sacramento, but there's a locality that just got these crazy armored breaching vehicles. And there's a local representative that I don't know if she's fighting for them or against them, but there's a community uproar about the fact. And I saw a press release, and they were like, these are defensive vehicles, and these are straight up breaching vehicles. And of course, after everything with Tyre is so front of mind, that the community's pissed.
Yeah.
And
why do the police need this?
So sometimes they do. Yeah. But the thing is that it's such a hot subject right now because we're not acknowledging it. And the defund the police argument, I understand when a community buys a fucking armored bulldozer that can just take out half of your house and has mounted, cruiser fucking weapons on it, not a great look.
Yeah.
I understand the argument for wanting to defund things like that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I guess my argument would be divert the funds that the police are receiving for things like this and divert them to more training, higher salaries. Hey, if there's a police shortage, up the salary, dude.
Yeah.
And the problem is that, I've learned this going through the leadership Folsom and seeing how the fucking sausage is made as far as public policy and state budgets and city budgets and all that stuff go. It is like tooth and nail for every dime.
Everything.
I get it. And then you have these unions. Some are great, some aren't. And there's a lot of hands in the pot, and it gets really difficult to determine what you can allocate X amount of dollars to and where you get the most ROI for the community, not in terms of money, but just in terms of the community.
Yeah.
And I think that, instead of buying a several $100,000 breaching vehicle, maybe we make better cops.
Yeah. So my argument is very similar. First off, the more we kind of degrade, harass the police, and I don't mean hold them accountable when they screw up. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying the more police officers feel that they're not valued by society, by the masses, the less people are going to want to do the job. It's just natural. Why would I want to go do a job where people are going to throw shit at me, rocks, fucking cans, bottles, whatever, cuss at me, dox me, fucking put, my family in jeopardy because I'm trying to help people, right? And I put bad people in prison or in jail. So when we have, whether it's low salary, even if it's, a good wage, when you have a job environment where it's negative, you have the potential of getting sued if you do your job and protect your life and your buddy's life, and you still may end up going to fucking prison for it. It's scary. So you're going to have any educated or intelligent person is going to be like, I could do something else and make money and not do that.
Yeah.
Right. Not risk my freedom because I'm trying to help people and make my community safer. So when we talk about defunding the police, first off, I don't think it holds weight, but the armored vehicles and stuff like that, yeah, I'd like to see less that. I'd like to see more money for mental health, and I want investment from the leadership. You have to train these guys so that they understand that caring about their subordinates and themselves is so vital to their mission success that you won't be successful without it. And this is what I mean. Any elite unit in the military, Navy SEALs, Army Rangers, Green Berets, if they have one of their members who is not squared away, who's having marital problems, financial problems, their kids got cancer, you don't send them on deployment where their focus is at home on their family. You send them home to their family to deal with their stuff so that they can focus on that. And then when it's time to come back to work and handle their mission where lives are on the line, they do that. And it doesn't have to be that serious where lives are on the line. But in this case, when we're talking about police officers, yeah, potentially. So we want to make sure that, number one, they're responding adequately. And usually that means using de-escalation tactics. We need to calm these people down. Now, if you come into a situation, you're trying to find out what's going on, and one guy's got a hammer and he's going to hit the other one, hey, you got to do what you got to do, right? And I will never fault a police officer for doing that, ever. Yeah. So when we have guys who are beating an unarmed person who isn't really, like, I could tell he was scared for his life, and it didn't take very long for him to get there. He's like, why are you guys, he told him, you're being a real extra right now. Like, why are you doing this? And because he didn't understand. First, they didn't really tell him what he did. I didn't hear him say, you did this or that. They didn't ask him any questions. They didn't say, give me your license, registration, insurance. They yelled and cussed and drug him out of the car. And he's like, what in the fuck? He has no fuck. Yeah. So yeah, it's either personal or these guys were literally ticking time bombs, and collectively they were more like a gang than they were, protect and serve.
Well, so there is, I don't know if it's local or not, but I read an article recently that there was a police department that banned their police officer members from wearing thin blue line.
Oh, I heard that here in California,
on or off duty. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, there's been a lot of
so crazy.
Well, but there's also like NYPD
has
had legitimate gangs in it.
So is LA.
Yeah.
Several folks in LA. In fact, they had a group down, I don't know, it's Pomona or somewhere around LA. They got tattoos if they killed someone.
Yeah.
And they were like, part of it, like, that's fucked up. Like, that's not what you want to, this isn't a good thing. You killing a American citizen is not a good thing.
This is
now,
not a good thing.
Like, do I get it? Bad guys need to be put down? I do. But the majority of the time, our job is to bring them to justice so that the Justice Department can fucking deal with them adequately and punish them to prison or whatever it is. And death is the punishment for taking someone else's life. So that's not our goal. It shouldn't be. And the best way to do that is to make sure we have healthy officers, physically fit, mentally fit, and the leadership is invested. Excuse me. The leadership is invested in that person so that they know, hey, this person's struggling at home. They have some issues going on in their marriage or whatever. There's infidelity, there's infertility, there's financial, whatever the fuck their problem is. We're going to help them. We're going to give them resources so they can deal with it so that they can be good cops. That's it. It's the same reason we have the fucking Atlas Project. I need firefighters who are going to come to my house and be squared away and handle the stuff so that, because we do outsource 100% of our trauma to first responders, I need them mentally and physically fit. If they're not both of those things, we need to work on some shit.
Yeah. So, I think
I think that'll mitigate and eliminate some of these fucking incidents from happening.
I think that you have to acknowledge the fact that, like, I think there's some carryover. So if you're an infantryman without a CIB, what are you?
Hogue ass bitch.
Yeah, you're a pussy, right? I think that a lot of that carries over into law enforcement. Maybe not as outwardly as wearing a badge on your chest, but at the end of the day, a CIB recognizes the fact that you pointed your weapon and shot at another person with the intent to take their life.
That's right.
It is something to be proud of as an infantryman, and I do understand that. But when you strip all the bravado and all that shit away,
and that's a war against people who are not American citizens.
100%.
You know what I mean?
So when you strip all that away,
not that they're not humans too,
but like even then, if you strip all that away, it is a fucking shame that a CIB even exists. Really, it is a shame that we can't just like live at peace worldwide. Yeah, I'm also a realist,
That's
right?
Yeah. We got a Skygate, balloon gate
we
right
have a
now.
fucking balloon floating over the U.S. right now. Like, dude, it's not good. But
fuck.
I think that that's a part of the culture, and you can call that. I think that a lot of people might argue that that's just male culture in general.
Yeah,
but
machismo.
Yeah, but it does suck that there are cops out there that celebrate shit like that. Yeah. I mean, like in that video, I saw two cops holding back his arms while another cop was throwing like haymaker uppercuts. Yeah. And that's just never fucking okay. No. I don't care what.
Yeah, there's no scenario where that's like okay.
Apprehend them, cuff them, do your investigation, and call it. That, like, now, again, I don't think they had even probable cause to do that, but there's never an excuse for just like full on comic book ripping the shit, like just beating the brakes off a dude.
All right.
You can't do that. This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Kinetic Ink Tattoo Company. If you're looking to get a tattoo or piercing in the Folsom area, you have to check out Kinetic Ink. You'll realize that this is not your ordinary shop the second you walk through the door. Kinetic Ink is built to bring together the veteran and first responder communities in a place where they can connect with one another, share their stories, and get tattooed by world-class artists. What I love most about Kinetic is that a percentage of every tattoo is donated to Warfighter Overwatch to help vets and first responders when they need it most. The sense of community and camaraderie they've built is unlike any shop I've been in. Go check them out. They're located in Folsom at 47 Natoma Street, right across the street from City Hall. Mention the Patriotic Podcast and get 15% off Kinetic Ink merchandise. Shout out to Kinetic for sponsoring the pod. Now back to our episode.
We're supposed to, like, so I understand there's not much recourse if the cops break the law. If they violate your rights, you can sue them, right? And for people who abuse it, it sucks. If your family member is a criminal and they were doing criminal shit and they got shot by the cops, how would you feel if someone was robbing you, raping you, or something? Would you want the police officer to shoot that person? No. What if it was your kid, right? And for me, the answer is simple, man. It's like, anything to do with my kids, playing with your life, man.
Yeah.
Playing with your life. because I have been to war, have seen the ugly parts of humanity, and I participated in those. I didn't do paperwork.
Yeah.
I pointed my weapon and shot another human being, and I'll never forget the first time that happened and how I felt, what I thought, and then how I thought I was supposed to act.
Right.
Right? So over there, everyone knows when you get into a fucking gunfight, by the time you get back to the camp, to the fob, you're going to get high fives or you're going to get fucking, whatever. People are going to ask what happened, what went down. If they're aware that you killed some bad dudes, everybody celebrates because it doesn't happen often. They attack you. They fucking hide. They're ghosts, man. They're fucking in the Mahals. You don't see them.
Yeah.
Whether it's a bomb or whether it's an RPG, whether it's small arms fire, doesn't matter. Whether they're lobbing rounds on the fob, you're not, most of the time, you're not going to get an enemy that's going to present himself to shoot you. And we used to joke that we killed all the dumb ones in 2003, right? In the beginning, initial invasion of Iraq. But by 2006, things were nasty. And in Solder City, in our area outside of Rustamaya and Fob Hope, it was pretty grimy. But, and I'll say this, like, for me, shooting someone, taking their life, that didn't bother me. But I felt guilt when my guys got hurt or killed. Yeah. I blame myself, or, I wanted to be able to change that scenario, that outcome. Mm-hmm. And so that motivates you or drives you to not hesitate if there is, a situation. Sometimes you have no, I'll give you an example. One day we were out on patrol, we're driving around, and this car comes up and they shoot this guy who was walking on the road. It was pretty crazy to see like a drive-by happen right in front of us. We immediately got over there. We could not chase that car. They got away like pretty quick. And we're in Bradley's. It wasn't going to be a car chase, right? So we go over there to go help this guy. And normally it's like there's not a whole lot we can do, but we throw this guy in the back of the Bradley, provide some first aid, minimal first aid because we don't have a medic with us. So we're trying to keep this guy alive. We get him back to our fob, to Rustamaya, and we take him. There's like a thing where you could drive up. Guys are hurt straight to the hospital. So we took him over there, and he gets in there and he starts telling the captain that we shot him. I'm like, bitch, I just saved your fucking life. You're going to sit here and try to say that I tried to murder you, bitch? You lying motherfucker. Like, why? Well, I don't know. He thought he was going to get money. I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe he got shot, went into shock, and the first thing he thought was, well, the Americans are here. They must have shot me. Yeah. But I didn't shoot that motherfucker. He had AK rounds in him. I don't have an AK. So you never know what's going to happen. But at the end of the day, our job is to be prepared for any of that. But what it's not is to be overzealous and kill innocent people or any of that stuff. There's always that discipline where that's the difference between us and the enemy, right? The evil is that they will do what those 5 police officers did. They will be overcome with emotion or whatever. And like, they're angry because he didn't lay down flat on the ground. And all that. Like, I get it. You want a guy to comply, put a cuff on him and start fucking wrenching on him a little bit. It doesn't have to be hard. If they would have had an ounce of skills, because like you said, and we'll have to find out the validity of how much training they had. But if you have any jiu-jitsu skills, any wrestling skills, any grappling skills, you can put that guy who's not very big in some sort of, whether it's a wrist lock or arm bar or something, get him to the ground.
5 guys couldn't get a 140-pound dude.
And did you look at him? They're not small. Those guys were not small.
You couldn't get his arms behind his back to cuff him?
I could have. I'm 41. Dude, I'm almost 41 years old.
Dude.
I got shrapnel on my knees fucked up. My hips fucked up.
That's what I'm saying. I think that more shit is going to come out. I hope it doesn't. Like, yeah. I hope that it was, I don't know. Like, I just wish it didn't happen, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, I can't say that I hope it was anything. I hope that there wasn't any personal shit, but I don't know if that's better or worse than it just being wrong place, wrong time. And this guy crossed paths with 5 fucking insane cops.
Yep.
And the person that we talked to about this is like pretty upset about it.
Yeah. Because anyone who watches that, who has any sort of empathy in them, says that's not right.
Yeah.
And listen, the purpose kind of what we do in general, this is why I love being in the military, man. And I'm sure why good police officers love being police officers, because you get to stand up. You get to fight for the person who can't fight for themselves. You get to advocate for them, and you get to show up and be kind of that might that puts things back in the rightful place or order. And when we have the people who are given a great responsibility, right? So what is the saying? Was that JFK for those? Yeah, we're going to have to edit that part. All right. Yeah. So I'm going to look it up because it's like, essentially, if we're going to ask people to do stuff, they're going to have this great responsibility. We need to make sure that we're taking care of them too. And at the end of the day, it's partly their job to take care of themselves. So we have to provide resources, but standing up for the little guy or for the people who can't fight for themselves, that's always been a thing. So I want people to be that voice, to be that light in the dark for people who can't do it for themselves, man. And it doesn't mean we go out and burn buildings and do all that shit, but it's important to take a stand and fight for something, Yeah, it is. So I'm grateful for what we stand for and the values that we get to embody every day. Our actions speak for themselves. And hopefully we'll continue to help shed some light on shitty things for the purpose of growth and improvement.
Yeah.
And
that's the ultimate goal for me, dude. I don't want to trash talk any subject. I want to talk about how it might have come to be and how we can learn from it and improve on it. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of lessons to be learned by some of these tragedies. I mean,
yeah.
And I hope we do. I hope we do. And I hope we don't lose sight of that because ultimately there's a lot of work to be done.
Yeah, man.
I don't know if we'll ever see it like in our lifetime, man, but I really hope we do. I'm really hopeful that we do.
So the same with those trophies that are collecting dust in a box, right? Like we got stuff around here. There's awards and things that we've been given. And for me, I don't really like awards anymore. Like when I was a kid, that was good. The only thing I appreciate about this is that it shows that when you do good, sometimes people pay attention and they see that and they praise that. And that is a good thing.
Yeah.
Right. Because there's so much good to focus on us in this world. We get caught up in the negative stuff, but we still have to address that stuff. But again, 5-minute, 5-year rule. And we got to address things, I think, together as a society. We got to ignore, like, I want to get rid of like, all this racial division that we have, because at the end of the day, that hinders us from having these great conversations that could lead to growth and the true potential of our freedom here in this country. So we'll continue to push that on the Patriotic Podcast because that's what it's all about, man. Patriotism, I believe Mark Twain said, is loving your country all the time and your representatives when they deserve it. Love you, bro.